Community Veterans Memorial is located in Southwest Munster, Indiana, just south of Fitness Point on Calumet Avenue. The Community Veterans Memorial idea was born about 3 years ago when a group of local veterans and businessmen were meeting in their social circles and began to talk about the fact that there really wasn't a place in Lake County, Indiana that honors veterans. From that idea continued to grow, and they decided to build a facility that honors the veterans of all the major conflicts of the 20th century, including World Wars I, II, Vietnam, Korea, and Desert Storm. The Community Veterans Memorial continues to amaze me, I think mostly because of the fact that it really touches just about every generation you can imagine. Veterans out here, and we've seen their great-grandchildren here as well, all of them are able to really capture the moment and really realize the great impact that these conflicts and these wars have had on our history.
When Julie and I went to work around and design the philosophical concept of the park, we actually had to go into the future and borrow experiments that's done in universities nowadays and even down to high school about the conceptual of the repetition to infinity based on repetitions of time, repetition of elements, so-called fractals. And therefore the entire park is designed in that mode. It possibly that this is the first fractal design park in the world. And maybe we'll put it as significant in the art of the United States or the world as this kind of a design. And therefore everything we followed by was based on repetition of time, trying to ask and understand, can we break motive of going from war to war, or what is the role of our society? The monuments that you see here are mainly sculpted montage combined with the messages. And if we look at World War I, the beams, the pillars, the cannon is all aiming to the fact that the Great War did not end. It was just a continuance into the next one after. And therefore that's the design of the park, or portray in the way we orchestrate the landscape down to the last plane. This Marine guy who is actually holding a hand of a dying pilot who he found through a patrol, and it's the last thing that you can do because he cannot save this pilot under the crash. All he can do is kind of held his hand and take his message the last minute, and that's what this Marine will carry for the rest of his life. If we're going over to the other side of this installation, then you're able to see the fact of almost a D-Day invasion in different way, because this war was not about the hero of the generals. It was about every G.I. Joe who carries heart, mind, emotion, subconscious and memories up till today. The Korean War, the Frozen War, the Defense War, that didn't allow anybody to come home proud to say, we won the war. War that sometimes lost almost the meaning behind it because it was not straightforward like the World War II, when everybody knew what the mission and why and what they're going to do at least. The daily, day-to-day frozen feelings. The Korea Monument, it's time to come under the snow. When the snow is falling, those people there embedded in the wall, the African American who carry his officer wounded officer, and the sniper who protect their retreat are the frozen people who left behind, or whoever of them came home and had to hide this feeling because nobody wanted to hear about it. It was like a secondary effect after the winning of the World War II, and it was not a winning war. Can you put yourself in those Mickey Mouse boots of those soldiers and feel what they feel today. That here we're dealing almost with memory of soldiers, with messages of soldiers. We had to eliminate the politics, almost eliminate the controversial of the time of the 60s, and leave it for a different type of art and different type of history, because that was not our mission here. It wasn't easy. We had to look from an objective, unified of what the soldier, that was our mission, and not what we would remember today by the events that happened in the 60s inside the country. It was about the people who was there and their missions. And they've been mostly saved by those nurses. And Julie wonderfully created here this effect of combined sculpting effect, almost like the subconscious feeling of those people who've been saved by those nurses, carried by the US from. It took about 20 minutes to pull a wounded soldier from combat zone into a temporary hospital and saved him by those nurses who were the first on site before the doctor and took care of him. And we never saluted them enough for that. But how many thousands of lives they saved. I think the element here with almost like the shadow behind it is creating in the art some kind of a continuous feeling of this kind of a memory that Julie created here very strongly. Also this kind of a little bit era of elements. I think the Vietnam is the war of the Huey and the M16. And kind of a side beside the environment. It's kind of a seldom effect that she created about the micro and the macro again, as you see in the park. I remember in 1972, a woman went to wake up a person in my community to go to work in a farm in the morning at 4:30 in the morning. And this man was a Vietnam vet who just came to stay with us for a while. And he jumped from his sleep and almost choked her for death. It was his instinct, the surviving instinct of a soldier whose his day-to-day surviving make him to be so obscure, so alert, so quick respond that you never know who's in the front of you, enemy or a friend. And the surprise effect here, when you walk through the wall that Julie created here wonderfully, the elements that you walk now in a park, Family America, and you went through this emotion so far, and suddenly your own soldier, this guy, is actually pointing the gun at you. And when you see this grenade launcher facing you, this dark thing there is a momentum in art. It's not a storytelling, it's a momentum that gives you a reminder of what goes in their mind for the rest of their life. Guarding their lost friends there. There's still some of them laying there. Some of them were POWs and some of them just lay there forever. They're still guarding them for the rest of their life. And it's a message. It's a message for Family America about a real war. Because we cannot bring here the real war. We cannot create here the smell, the sound, the horror, the impact. It's all about by silent effect. And I think that Julie created it wonderfully in the entire installation. I still carry in my mind the impact of this shout of motherland, of the oil burning up into the sky and polluting the entire part of this globe. I mean, I think that every time you will think about this desert storm, the memory would be of the destruction, that the burning oil spilling out from the land and just covering and hovering everything. and it's kind of symbolized this momentum. And it's almost what left to do is to create a level or stages. So we put the desert in the camel and the ground forces and the armor forces and the support air forces by the helicopters and the stealth fighters up there, up high in the sky, and it's all go through the smoke, facing the past of how this was a quick, decisive element compared to Vietnam. If I'm standing in the front of that camera, look at this, what I see here. What will be stronger? This man who's standing here and explain to you, or this ghost soldier who's searching for his friends through the rubbles of helmets and boots? I don't think any words can say more than a few pieces of stone, steel, and a silhouette structure like that. I think it's a wonderful monument that Julie kind of created into the feelings of those soldiers who tribute everything that they had and practically decided we're going to create this park here for the future to come. The momentum of taking the next generation, the children who's going to come here and walk around like this child who's carried the only thing that left from his father is his fatigue through his own broken window that he grew up as a son of a lost soldier, a son looking for his father holding his dog tag and looking to the future. What is our future? How many wars do we have to go through? What is our mission into the future? Go to war or try to make peace? Look at the entire human chain and human culture and the human race. We are in a small village. Can we stop the violent events, or our job is to continue the cycles that we just went through? And we took it from the committees of those soldiers and put it here in the park.